Welcome to Road to Recovery.
Welcome to the Road to Recovery, Advocacy and Insights for Trucking Accidents with Sagi Shaked. Sagi is the founder of Shaked Law, personal injury lawyers, and is ranked one of the top 100 trial lawyers in the United States by the American Trial Lawyers Association. With a wealth of experience in personal injury, wrongful death, and complex litigation cases, he passionately advocates for victims and has recovered multi-million-dollar settlements in damages for his clients. I'm your host, Sophia Morales, and today's episode is 5 things you must know before a compulsory medical exam. Welcome, Sagi. It's so good to have you back with us today.
Thanks, Sophia.
So we're talking about something a lot of injury victims never really see coming, the defense medical exam, or the DME. And so tell us, what exactly is a DME?
Yeah, so the DME, the Defense Medical Exam, sometimes known as a CME, a Compulsory Medical Exam, it's an exam that the insurance company, through their lawyers, will hire a doctor to examine the person that's injured. Now, they're not hiring an objective doctor. They're hiring a doctor who's going to say exactly what they want him to say. But the goal would be to hire an objective doctor, but they always go to the same few doctors in town who are going to say you're not hurt or you're not hurt that bad. That's kind of what a CME/DME, Defense Medical Exam, is. They used to call them independent medical exams many years ago, but they're not independent at all.
Why do insurance companies and defense lawyers make people go through these exams?
So imagine, there's a lawsuit pending and you file the lawsuit and then you have a trial. Most cases don't go to trial, but there are a lot that do. And so the defense has to bring their defense. Now, if they just hired any doctor to examine a plaintiff or a person who's injured, the doctor would give their opinions. The problem is they go to the same doctors over and over because why? They want the doctors to say what they're going to say, which is you're not hurt. After 6 weeks of treatment, you no longer need this. You're healed. That's the typical thing. Or if you have a brain injury case, they don't have a brain injury. They're not brain injured from this crash. I mean, I've had the craziest defense medical examiners. They come up with these wacky, reports that say people aren't injured from these crashes. And sometimes, if the lawyer doesn't do a good job, exposing that bias, that financial bias, but also the credibility of these doctors, the insurance companies and their lawyers get away with it. So they do it to save themselves money. That's what they're trying to do.
It sounds like if I were an injured person, I don't have any choice about whether I go to this exam. So what do I need to know? How do I prepare before I go into one of these?
Yeah, you don't have a choice because they have a right to defend themselves and they're going to spend a lot of money to defend themselves. So number one, if you're injured or if your client's injured and you're going to one of these doctor's appointments, number one, you need to know the doctor is not on your side. They're not there to help you. They make nice small talk with you, but that doctor is not there to help you. It doesn't mean you have to be mean to them or upset with them. They're doing their job. They're trying to get paid and they want to have a routine source of business, which means they're going to continuously say people aren't injured from crashes. That's what they're going to do. So that's the first thing you need to know. Second thing you need to know is everything you say is going to be written down or recorded. So generally, if you're in the waiting room, they play tricks on you there. You got to be careful. Sometimes the doctor, if you say you have back pain, the doctor will purposely drop a pen to see how easily you can go down and bend over and pick it up. The third thing is the exams, they're usually short and they're very focused on a specific area. So they're not there, to do a long, thorough exam like your regular doctor would do. They're there, they look at the records for a second, then they say, they look at you and then they tell you to go home. And then from there, they're going to come back with their opinions, which are usually that you're not hurt or the person's not hurt. And if they were hurt, it was only 6 to 8 weeks of treatment. So when you're there, remember, stick to the facts of your case, don't make stuff up, and be polite. and be the nice person that you are. There's no reason to get mad at them. They're doing their job. Everybody's doing their job. It's just your lawyers or the person handling the case needs to do a good job exposing the defense medical doctor for who they are.
That makes sense. It sounds like a moment to not volunteer things.
Unless asked. Yeah, unless
Unless
asked.
asked, exactly. What are some specific tips for getting ready? You mentioned to be aware that they might be setting you up.
Yeah, so this isn't your normal exam. This doctor is looking to help the defense. So they're looking to trip you up any which way possible. So you got to sit with your lawyer and go over your symptoms. What have you said in the past to other medical doctors? Make sure you're consistent. Be honest. Don't exaggerate. We're not trying to make up stuff. You don't need to do that. You're injured. So just stick with what you got. Like you said earlier, Sophia, don't volunteer information only if asked. This isn't small talk. And I always have people tell me, oh, they sounded like such nice people. They wanted to be my friend. I'm like, no, they didn't. They're just trying to make a couple $1,000s for seeing you for 15 minutes. That's what it is. You want to have a straight, consistent, incredible story. So I always tell my clients, again, be honest. Don't make stuff up. Then also when you're there, you want to document everything. So the moment you get to their office, you want to note the time. How long the doctor spent with you, you want to note that time. Was it 8 minutes? Note that time. So when we can use that ammunition later on at trial, if they only spent a couple of minutes with you and now they're trying to say that you're not hurt, yet the doctors who spent months with you or years with you, they know more about you than the doctor who spent a couple of minutes with you. If you can bring someone with you, I would. I generally like to send a videographer with the client so the videographer can videotape everything.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
The problem is when you do send the videographer, now these defense doctors know there's a video there. So they're going out of their way to do a longer type of exam. And then what I would do is, dress appropriately. You're going to see a professional, dress appropriately. I'm not saying get in a suit, but dress appropriately because they're making evaluations on you. So
yeah, start with a good impression. So you mentioned one of the dirty tricks that these defense doctors pull with like dropping a pen. What are some of the other tricks you should prepare yourself for with these exams?
So casual observations, they're looking they have video camera set up in the parking lot to see how you're walking, to see how you're doing. They have video camera in the waiting room. They are watching you from the moment you get there. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if the defense lawyers were hiring people to surveillance you from the moment you left your house to the moment you get to the doctor's office. So keep that in mind. It shouldn't give you any anxiety, but this is what they do. If you have a lawsuit, be prepared to be videotaped. I was actually talking with one of my clients today, and we went through the surveillance video of how they're watching her all the time, nighttime, daytime. Really annoying. I wouldn't want that done to me, but she was really badly hurt, and they're trying to say she's not, but she's had multiple surgeries at the hospital, so they can say what they want. So the testing, again, it's going to be minimal testing on the part of the doctor. They're not going to do much. Don't expect to have, the doctor do a full-blown exam like a regular doctor would. These doctors are in it for the money. It's all about money with them. That's what it is. They like it. It's a game. They like being in court and going against other lawyers. And they're going to try to mischaracterize what you say. They're going to twist you into saying certain things. That's why I like having the videographer there. So there's no question as to what you said, because they'll put in the report, oh, the plaintiff told me this, whatever, X, Y, or Z. And in reality, they never said that. But if you don't have the video to back that up, you're in a position where they can say he said, she said, and now you're not really in a good situation. So always get that videographer to go with your client.
So if I've been through one of these DMEs and I feel like it wasn't fair, what can I do about that?
So this is why I want that video, right? If there was something that was shady, slimy, or something wrong with the defense medical examiner, and we have it on video, then that's the end for that defense medical examiner. And obviously, we would do that. We would show that to the judge and try to get sanctions, meaning money damages, and then also maybe we can get that doctor stricken so they can't even use a doctor anymore against you. So that's kind of what we would do. It doesn't happen often. Remember, this is that doctor's livelihood. So that doctor is going to do what she or he can to ensure that they continue to get business, which means they're going to treat you politely. They're going to, make you feel great. You're going to walk out of there thinking, oh, yeah, of course he's going to say I'm injured, or of course she's going to say I'm injured, because that's their job. Their job is to continue to get business, and they're not going to say you're injured. It just doesn't work that way. Unless it's like, one of our clients has a really bad, nasty hand injury where it broke every bone in her hand and has metal and plates there. How is a doctor going to say that's not from the crash? They don't say that. They just say she's doing really good now and she's back to normal.
The plate
When
did
she's
its
not.
job. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
She's lucky. She's lucky to have the surgery. She's doing better now than she would before.
oh, I would that that's the case. So, what are the final words of advice for someone who's getting ready for one of these DMEs?
3 things I would say is, 1, this doctor is not treating you. This is not your treating doctor. So you treat it as it's a business. You're going in there, you're doing your business. You're going to be polite. You're going to be nice. You're not going to do anything that's wrong. You're not going to exaggerate. You're not going to lie. 2, you're not there to prove anything. You have the injuries. If your client has the injuries, they just need to talk about them. That's it. But remember, you got to prepare for this stuff. And 3, you're there to tell the truth, right? Stick to the truth. Don't give the defense a way to twist what you're saying. Again, we're going to do the videographer to twist what you're saying to hurt your case. So again, not your treating doctor. You're not there to prove up the case, and just tell the truth. That's all we want. And I would make sure that the lawyer prepares you, or lawyer, if you're listening to this and you're a lawyer, make sure you prepare your client fully for the defense medical exam, because there are, tricks of the trade. Obviously, they're going to want you to fill out forms too. Your lawyer should know what the forms are ahead of time, so you're not filling out forms that the defense wants to know. So make sure you file your motions before the defense medical exam. Limit the amount of what they can do at the exam. And that's for a whole nother podcast, because we can talk about what needs to be done with the motion. And maybe we'll do that on the next one.
Yeah, I was going to say there's probably some complexities that go with getting permission for the videographer.
Yeah, actually now we're allowed to do that. We just got to let them know in advance, because they're basically having a free shot at our client. So we're allowed to get a videographer there. And you're also, as the lawyer, you can go to the defense medical exam. I've gone to so many of them, I can't count. And you start seeing the same thing over. It's the same, BS exam, the same BS report. I know what the doctor's going to write before the doctor even sees them, because I have so many of their reports. It's the same cookie cutter form. It's the same opinions that they're not injured from this accident. 6 to 8 weeks of treatment is all reasonable. Everything after that is not reasonable. So what they're telling us is that on week 9, if the person still has pain, it's not from this crash. It's got to be from something else. It's that Martian that came from outer space and zapped them. That's what the pain's from. It's not from the crash. So they take these, arguments that don't make any sense. They're comical sometimes, and the jury gets it if you know how to expose it. So that's our job, really protect the client and expose the arguments. So expose the bias and the credibility of the defense doctor, and show that our client is extremely credible and what they're saying is not. So that's our job there.
Well, thank you for that. I know that if I were facing something like this episode would be extremely helpful to me. And thank you to everyone for tuning in to The Road to Recovery, Advocacy and Insights for Trucking Accidents with Sagi Shaked. For more information or to contact Sagi, visit shakedlaw.com, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and review.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.